Hello, in this tutorial we'll be setting up Docker and installing Prestashop on the Ubuntu instance we created last time. So the first thing we need to do is update our server with the sudo apt-get update command. As you can see, we wrote it here, and from that we can begin installing Docker. And first of all, we need to make sure we have the HTTPS certificates so we can actually install it from its directory on the internet. And once we've done that, you can see I said yes to it just to make sure that actually worked. And once we've done that, we can just echo the directory we've just created through installing that, and then we can update all of the packages again just to make sure there's no issues before we actually start installing Docker. And as you can see, we're installing the CLI version of Docker for Ubuntu, and obviously the container version. So I've obviously said yes to the command just to make sure, and you can see it installing it here. And now to test the installation, we first need to just make sure it's the correct version. So it's the latest version of Docker, I think. And we could also test it's actually being present by using the sudo docker run hello world command, which is built in and it just tells you it functions perfectly and can make containers. So you can see here, it worked. It ran hello from Docker. You can see it also gave you like all this guidance. So the Docker client contacted the Docker daemon. Docker daemon pulled the Hello World image from the Docker Hub website, and it created a new container and ran the container with the output Hello World. So everything is working. And just to double check, sudo docker psa here. So you can see the container ID is there, the image is hello world, and it ran 44 seconds ago from this command, and exit 43. So you can see it's all working fine. And now once we've tested it, we can run the command sudo docker network create SSL network. This will basically allow our containers we make to communicate with one another securely. So it's secure socket link. And you can see it's created here. You can even see its ID. And now we can actually start going and creating our containers. So the first thing we need to do is sudo docker run d. So this is our MySQL database container, MySQL. Specify the network we just created, SSL network, so it will be able to communicate with the upcoming Prestashop container. And specify that its password is admin, and the ports are 3306. And the version of MySQL is the one Docker is compatible with. So we're downloading the latest version of Docker, which uses MySQL 5.7. And another thing we just need to remember is the password admin for when we're actually setting up the website. Once we've created the MySQL container, we need to create another one for our Prestashop, like bit where we're going to install Prestashop stuff. So sudo docker run, we do the same kind of command, like Prestashop, and specify the network is once again our SSL network. So this is the important part. That's where we specify our database server. So in this case, I've named it MySQL, which is the container we've just made. The database name itself is Prestashop, because it'll be used by Prestashop. The user name is root, and the password is admin, much like the MySQL container. And we specify that the ports we'll be accessing it through are 80 and 443, and that will be installed in the latest version of Prestashop, so it's compatible with the MySQL version we installed. And now we can check that we've created both of them successfully by running the sudo docker ps command, where we'll see even though the screenshot's a little bit jumbled, because I had it in small screen, everything squeezed together, we can see that both have been successfully created. So Milo Prestashop, Milo MySQL. And make sure you actually name the actual database Prestashop as I did here, just in case. And now we're moving on to domains and actually setting up Prestashop. So the first thing you need to do is get the current IP address to the domain. Hang on. I meant get your DNS, so the domain name. In this case, I named it campbellsnetshack.hop2.org, and make sure you attribute your instance's current IP address to the domain of your website. And you can either get that from the terminal directly or from the AWS website instance thing. And once you make sure it's active and assigned to the correct IP address, you can install certbot, as you can see. So apt-get install certbot Python 3 set up Apache, and once it's installed, you can specify the domain while running the certificate command on it. So as you can see, I specified our domain. Again, it's called campbellsnetshack.hop2.org. And through that, we can enable HTTPS, and that sets up Let's Encrypt, as you can see here. So that will manage all our security. And once we've done that, we just need to make sure both containers are running before we visit the installation page. So now once we access the installation page, we can start all the setup and stuff. So in here, you need to specify your email as the admin account and stuff. But more importantly, we need to specify that the server is MySQL. So again, you're going to be accessing this over 3306, which we made sure was open earlier. The database name is Prestashop, like last time. The login is root, and the database password is admin. Again, you need to remember the one you made. And you can test your database connection, and that it should hopefully connect to the database as long as you get the right credentials and name in, and also the ports are open. And now, per the installation page's instructions, which will show up once it's done installing loads of its modules and other things, it will tell you to remove the install directory, which we did here because that contains all the installation files and gets rid of the install page on the website, which means you don't need to, it won't like mess up anything. And also, while you're at it, it's also optimal to sudo docker update restart always Prestashop and do the same for your other container. So the reason why we can just automatically restart it whenever the instance goes live is just to make sure you don't need to do it manually, because that's really, really annoying and can also get quite, if you're rushing, it can potentially mess up things in case you use the wrong command or something. And again, per its instructions, you also need to rename the admin folder for additional security. So in my infinite wisdom, I decided to rename it from admin to really secret page, because that's how you know it's really, really secret. And now, using Prestashop, you can ensure your server is running by searching the URL of the website using a web browser, and this should bring you to the customer homepage. Now, this is what customers would see while using your website, as you'll see in the tutorial after this. But no change will be able to be made to the site through this page. Only admins will be able to do that. And so, as you can see, this is our website. This was a screenshot taken slightly after I adjusted the web template, but you get the idea. And now you use add the new file name, in this case, really secret page, for the admin. What was the admin folder onto the URL, and enter the credentials you've given while setting up Prestashop to access the admin dashboard. And on to the next tutorial that I haven't recorded yet.